Dr. Elias Wren sat alone in the language lab of Outpost Thatanen, deep in space on the moon Titanus. 4. The room was silent except for the soft hum of machinery. Screens glowed gently around him, filled with ancient symbols that no one else could understand. Elias, a young human linguist, had spent the last 3 years trying to decode the writings of a forgotten alien race. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his tired eyes. His fingers tapped on the console as he whispered the phrase, "Against to test the sound of it, Tavala Norindar." Suddenly, something unexpected happened. Across the room, Lyra, an alien diplomat from the Alari species, froze in place. She had been quietly sorting files, but now her hands stopped moving. Her wide silver eyes slowly turned toward Elias. Her necklace, small crystal hanging from a simple chain, began to glow softly. Elias blinked. "Lyra?" he asked. "What's wrong?" She did not answer right away. Her gaze stayed fixed on him, her expression unreadable. The crystal pulsed with a soft white light, growing brighter with every second. The glow reflected on her dark, blue skin and lit up the shadows of the lab. "You said it," she finally whispered. Elias stood up slowly. "Said what?" "That phrase," she said, walking toward him. Her voice was calm, but there was fear in her eyes. "You spoke words that have not been heard in over 10,000 years. Elias felt a chill run down his spine. "I only repeated something from the tablet we found last week. I thought it was just another forgotten language. It is not." "Forgotten," Lyra said. She touched the glowing crystal gently. It was hidden, buried, forbidden. He took a step closer, curious. "What does it mean?" She hesitated. "It means the gate opens for the speaker of truth." The room grew even quieter, as if the air itself was holding its breath. Elias had no idea what he had just awakened. "Lyra," he said carefully, "why is your necklace glowing?" She looked down at it. "This crystal has been in my family for generations. We never knew what it truly was, only that it was important. But now I know. It holds a memory, Elias. A very old memory, and your voice has triggered it." "A memory," he repeated. "Like a recording." Lyra nodded. "Yes, not just sound. It holds thoughts, emotions, images, something from the past that was never meant to return." Elias stared at the necklace in awe. "Then I need to know more, please." She looked at him for a long time. Then she walked to the control panel and pressed a button that locked the lab doors. "No one else can hear what I'm about to tell you," she said softly. "Not your superiors, not even my people. This is not a secret. It is a danger." Elias swallowed hard. He nodded. Lyra sat across from him and placed the necklace gently on the table between them. The glow dimmed slightly, but it didn't stop. "My people," she began, "once served a race known only as the Forgeborn. They were builders of stars, creators of weapons, and masters of knowledge. Long ago, they ruled across many galaxies, including yours, but they were not kind. They believed in control, not freedom." Elias listened closely. "When the Forgeborn fell," she continued, "they tried to erase their own legacy. They buried their knowledge inside crystals like this. One, locked with language. Only a voice pure and unknown to them could ever unlock it again." "And I unlocked it?" Elias asked. "Yes," Lyra said. "Because you are human, you were never part of their world. Your mind is free of their influence." The weight of her words settled heavily in the room. Elias looked at the crystal. "So what happens now?" "The memory inside will try to complete itself," she said. "It will seek the truth it once held. And when it does, something ancient will respond. Something that should never wake again." "But it's just a memory," he said. "It can't hurt anyone, right?" "It depends," Lyra replied. "Some memories are more dangerous than weapons, especially when they are heard by the wrong ears." A warning light blinked on the lab wall. Low signal from orbit something. Small had just entered the moon's atmosphere. Lyra turned toward the screen and frowned. "They heard it," she whispered. "Who?" Elias asked quickly. "I don't know," she said. "But the signal is not from the Alliance, and not from Earth." Elias rushed to the control panel and pulled up the satellite feed. A strange, angular ship hovered silently above the outpost. It had no lights, no markings, no known signature. The necklace pulsed again. Whatever that phrase unlocked, Lyra said quietly. It's calling something back. Leah stared at the ship. Then we need to stop it.
Oh, Lyra looked at him
And nodded slowly. Yes, but first, you must hear the rest of what no one else was ever meant to know. The unknown ship hovered in the sky above Outpost Thatnine, silent and unmoving like a shadow in space. No one could identify it. It sent no signal, made no threat, but its presence alone was enough to raise alarms. Inside the lab, Elias and Lyra stared at the satellite feed. The ship was shaped like a long blade, smooth and black, without engines or weapons that could be seen. But something about it felt, ancient. Elias turned away from the screen. His voice was low. Lyra, you said, I need to hear the rest. Nodded. Yes. You deserve to know everything, 'cause now you are part of it. We reached for the glowing necklace and held it carefully in her hand. The crystal was warm to the touch. She closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them with a serious look. The phrase you spoke is from the Protocore, she began. It is a language older than all others. It came before the stars we know today. My people were once its keepers, but over time we forgot it. Or chose to forget. Why? Elias asked. Because it was dangerous, she answered. The Forgeborn created the Protocore to control knowledge. Anything spoken in it could unlock memories, command machines, or open gates. Only their voices were allowed to use it. Made sure of that. But I'm not one of them, Elias said. No, Lyra said softly. That is why it worked. The crystal was designed to reject their voices. But you are human. You are new to this galaxy. The system sees you as a fresh key. Elias sat down slowly, the weight of the discovery settling in. So I accidentally activated something ancient. Yes, she said, and now it is awake. The ship above. It is not here by chance. It heard the signal. The beacon in this. Crystal has broadcast something across deep space, and someone has come to answer. Elias looked at the glowing crystal. So what do we do? Lyra hesitated, then stood in motion for him to follow. Come with me. There's more I must show you. They walked quickly through the silent halls of the outpost. Outside, the sky above Titanus 4 shimmered with soft light as the ship continued to watch. Most of the staff had taken shelter, unsure of what was happening. Lyra led Elias to a private chamber deep underground. Inside was a small storage room filled with old Alari artifacts. She pulled aside a curtain to reveal a hidden door. A wave of her hand, the necklace glowed, and the door opened with a soft hiss. Behind it was a chamber Elias had never seen before around, dimly lit with markings on every wall. They looked like the same symbols from the tablet he had studied. This room, Lyra said, was built by my ancestors. It holds the history that was erased from our records. Only those with the necklace could enter. Elias stepped forward, slowly tracing his fingers across the markings. This is the Protocore language. Yes, Lyra replied. And you're the only one in centuries who can read it. Elias nodded. I can try. He began reading the inscriptions on the wall. The words came to him strangely easily, as if his mind already understood their meaning. We sealed the gate. We silenced the voice. We buried the past to protect the future. Elias looked at Lyra. What gate are they talking about? She answered. A vault hidden deep under this moon. The Forgeborn used it to store their most powerful creational memory engine. It holds every command they ever used, every secret they ever kept. If it is opened, everything they once were could return. Elias felt his throat tighten, and now it's trying to open again. Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, because of the phrase you spoke. The memory engine is listening for anyone who still speaks the language. And now it knows you exist. He stepped back, shaken. So what do we do? There is still hope, Lyra said. The memory engine only responds to complete activation. A single phrase won't do it. But if you continue reading, it might try to connect fully. Elias looked back at the wall. So we stop reading. No, she said. We finish. We learn what it wants. If we understand it, we might find a way to shut it down forever. Elias took a deep breath and read the next line. Only the speaker of truth may command the engine, and only one born beyond the known stars may silence it. Lyra stared at him. That means you. Elias looked confused. Why me? 'Cause your kind is not part of their design. Humans came from outside the influence of the Forgeborn. Your mind is free from their coding. A low tremor shook the floor beneath them. They looked up. The necklace glowed brighter than ever. They are coming, Lyra whispered. Whoever controls that ship wants to reach the memory engine first. Elias clenched his fists. Then we have to beat them to it. Lyra smiled faintly. Human courage. I was told about it, but now I see it myself. He looked around the chamber once more. So where is the vault? Lyra pointed to the map carved on the floor. Beneath the mountains to the east, buried far below the ice. The necklace gave a single pulse, and then it went dark. The necklace no longer glowed. Elias stared at it as Lyra gently placed the crystal back around her neck. The light had gone out, but the danger had not. The ancient ship still hovered silently above the moon, and deep underground, something old and powerful was beginning to stir. We don't have much time, Lyra said. If the Forgeborn memory engine wakes up fully, it will start sending signals to every old machine still connected to its code. Elias nodded. And those machines could be anywhere, right? Yes, she replied. Some might be buried. Some could be hidden in space. Yes. If even one of them activates, it could be a disaster. They left the hidden chamber and moved back through the underground corridors. The air felt colder now, maybe. It was the pressure from the ship above. Or maybe it was the feeling of history repeating itself. Why didn't anyone destroy the engine before? Elias asked. Lyra looked at him with a tired expression. Because we were afraid. The engine is tied to something greater than just memory. It is part of a vast network. Cutting one thread might awaken the rest. They reached the main lab again. A message was flashing on the central screen command, requesting status report. Elias hesitated. Should we tell them? Lyra shook her head. Not yet. If Earth Command finds out, they might try to destroy the ship without understanding it. That could start a war. Elias took a deep breath. Then it's just us. Lyra gave a small smile. For now. She reached into a drawer and pulled out a flat metal disc. It lit up when she touched it. This is a pathfinder, she said. It can locate old Forgeborn tech if it's nearby. We'll use it to find the entrance to the vault. Elias grabbed his jacket and nodded. Let's go.
Icy wind.
The icy wind howled outside the outpost. Titanus 4's surface was harsh and frozen, covered in jagged rocks and deep blue ice. Lyra led the way across the uneven ground, her eyes scanning the snowy horizon. Elias followed close behind, holding the pathfinder as it beeped and blinked. Softly in his hands, they walked for nearly an hour until the device gave a strong pulse. A strange hill of black stone stood ahead, half buried in ice. Unlike the rest of the moon's natural surface, this rock was smooth and shaped. This isn't natural, Elias said. Lyra nodded. No, it's a marker. The entrance should be. Beneath it, they circled the structure until they found a narrow opening. The wind whistled through it like a voice. The pathfinder beeped rapidly. This is it, Lyra whispered. They entered slowly, stepping into darkness. The walls were made of smooth black metal, untouched by time. As they moved deeper, faint lights began to glow along the floor, responding to their presence. After a few minutes, the passage opened into a large chamber. It was circular, with tall columns and a single pedestal at the center. Floating above the pedestal was a glowing sphere pail, flickering and filled with shifting light. Elias stepped forward. Is that the engine? Lyra nodded. Yes, but it's not fully active. It's still waiting. Studied it closely. The sphere seemed alive, full of swirling patterns and lights like stars. What does it do? He asked. Lyra took a step closer. It holds memory, but not like a computer. It remembers the feelings, voices, and thoughts of the Forgeborn. Everything they knew is inside. Elias reached out slowly. Can I touch it? Carefully. Lyra warned. His fingers brushed the sphere. A wave of images exploded in his mind, flashes of alien cities, giant machines, strange languages, and stars he had never seen. Voices echoed inside his head, not loud but clear. We are the Forgeborn. We remember. We control. We endure. Elias pulled his hand back, gasping. It spoke to me. What did it say? Lyra asked quickly. He repeated the words. Lyra's face turned pale. Then it knows you now. You've been marked. Marked, Elias asked. It means the engine has accepted you. It sees you as a new keeper of memory. You're inside its system now. Before Elias could respond, the ground shook. A deep humming sound filled the vault. Lights in the walls came to life, and the sphere glowed brighter. They found us, Lyra said. Who? Elias asked, backing away. Lyra pointed toward the entrance. It's the ship, or something from it. They're coming. A panel on the wall opened, revealing a passage behind the engine. This way, she said. They rushed through the narrow tunnel as the sounds behind them grew louder. Metallic footsteps echoed through the vault. Whoever or whatever had followed them was no longer hiding. The tunnel ended at another chamber, this one filled with strange machines. Some broken, some still humming softly. Lyra touched the wall and found a control panel. The necklace glowed once more, just enough to activate a small screen. It displayed a map of the facility. A red dot blinked near their location. Another dot blue showed a path leading deeper underground. That's the core chamber, Lyra said. If we reach it, we might be able to shut the engine down for good. Elias nodded. Let's do it. But behind them, they heard something crawl into the room. They turned. A tall figure stood in the tunnel, covered in ancient armor, its face hidden behind a smooth metal mask. Its eyes glowed faint red. It was not alive, but it moved with purpose. Lyra whispered, a Forgeborn sentinel. It stepped forward. Elias held up his hand and shouted the phrase he had spoken before. Tavala nor Indar. The sentinel paused. For a moment, everything was still. Then, slowly stepped back. It listened. Elias whispered in shock. Lyra stared at him. You're more than just a translator now. You're the last speaker of a language that controls the past. Elias looked down the next tunnel. Then let's finish what we started. The tunnel stretched forward into the darkness, but Elias did not hesitate. The Forgeborn sentinel had stepped aside at his command, no longer chased them. Instead, it stood silently at the edge of the chamber, like a guardian waiting for new orders. Lyra walked beside Elias, her face serious, the glow of her necklace now pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. The light lit up the smooth metal walls as they made their way toward the core chamber shown on the map. That sentinel, Elias said quietly. It didn't attack because of the phrase. But what happens if I say the wrong thing next time? Lyra replied. The protocore language is precise. Every word has deep meaning. That's why the Forgeborn used it. A wrong phrase could activate a weapon or a trap. So I have to be careful. Yes, she said. Very careful. As they moved deeper underground, the floor trembled again. This time, it was different. A low rumble grew stronger beneath their feet. Lyra touched the wall, and her necklace lit up again. A screen appeared, showing another image of the sky above the outpost. A second ship had arrived. It looked just like the first, one smooth. Black and silent, but larger. Much larger. This isn't a scout, Lyra whispered. It's a command vessel. Elias stared at the screen. They're not just watching anymore. They're preparing for something. Suddenly, the screen flickered, and a strange symbol appeared. Elias recognized it. It was the same symbol from the ancient wall, 3 circles surrounded by a triangle. Then a message played. A deep, robotic voice spoke in protocore. Return the key, return the memory, or we will take it by force. Lyra looked at Elias. They mean the necklace. And you. They think I'm the key, Elias asked. You are now, she said. You activated the memory. that makes you part of it. Elias felt a strange mix of fear and responsibility. Then we need to reach the core before they do. They left the screen and continued down the passage. After several turns, they came to a heavy door covered in symbols. The Pathfinder beeped. Louder. The engine was near. Elias stepped forward and spoke clearly in Protocore. Relinor and Dario pinned to the speaker. The symbols lit up. The door slowly opened with a loud hiss. Beyond it was a massive chamber round, high-ceilinged, and full of soft, glowing pillars. In the center floated a much larger sphere, slowly spinning in the air. This was the core of the memory engine. Lyra's voice was soft with awe. This is where the Forgeborn stored everything. All knowledge, all plans, all voices of their time. Elias stepped closer. As he approached, a small panel rose from the floor. He placed his hand on it. The sphere responded, glowing brighter. A beam of light shot down from it and wrapped around Elias, scanning him. Then, the voice returned louder, clearer than before. Identity. Unknown species. Memory access. Limited. Speaker status. Confirmed. Elias felt a strange connection. His thoughts began to blend with the machine. He saw Vision's giant ships flying through the stars, cities made of light and machines that built entire planets. But among these wonders, he also saw terrible things, wars between galaxies, entire worlds erased, weapons that could bend time. Lyra grabbed his arm. Pull back, Elias. The engine is showing you too much. Elias stepped back, breathing heavily. The visions faded. I saw everything, he said. The rise, the fall, the mistakes. Lyra looked at him carefully. Did it show you how? To stop it, Elias nodded slowly. Yes, there's a final phrase, command that can shut down the engine and remove all access. But once I say it, the memory will be sealed forever. No one will ever learn from it again. It's the choice, Lyra said. Keep the knowledge, or protect the future. Suddenly, the floor shook violently. Alarms rang from the walls. A voice echoed again. This time from the ship above. Time expired. Retrieval units inbound. Elias turned to the door. They're coming. Lyra's necklace glowed bright white. For the first time, I'll hold them off. You must speak the phrase. Elias shook his head. I won't leave you. You must, she said firmly. Only you can end this. He hesitated and stepped back to the panel. More footsteps echoed through the tunnel, metallic and fast. Lyra stood between him and the entrance, hands raised, necklace glowing like a shield. Elias looked into the core. He spoke the final phrase. In Protocore Kiran Nor Vastel, truth shall sleep. The core pulsed once, then again. It spread through every wall, every pillar. The sphere cracked open, releasing a soft wave of energy that swept through the room. Like wind, the lights dimmed, the noise stopped, the machines fell silent. The connection to the past was gone. Lyra turned around slowly, the glow of her necklace faded completely. She smiled. It's done, she said. Elias walked over to her. Together, they looked back at the now dark core. Outside, the ship began to move. Without a signal from the engine, it had no reason to stay. It slowly turned, then disappeared into the sky, vanishing into the stars. The danger was over, for now. The core chamber lay silent and dark after Elias spoke the final phrase. The great sphere, once glowing with powerful light, was now nothing more than a cracked shell. The memory engine was sealed, its secrets locked away forever, but the silence did not last long. Elias and Lyra stood near the heavy door that led back to the surface, when an urgent alarm sounded from the control panel. It was a warning signal not from the engine, but from outside. Lyra's eyes narrowed. The enemy is not gone. They are still trying to reach the vault. Elias frowned. How? I thought the ships left. They may have retreated for now, but the Forgeborn left machines everywhere. Automated drones that guard their treasures. These drones can fly, hunt, and communicate across the network. Suddenly, a small shadow flickered across the entrance. Before Elias could react, a sleek drone slipped through the doorway. It was unlike anything Elias had seen before. fast and silent. Its red sensors scanned the room. Lyra quickly activated a device on her wrist, sending out an energy pulse. The drone's sensors flickered and it crashed into the wall with a loud clang. "We need to move," she said urgently. "The drones will keep coming. We have to get deeper underground." Lias nodded. "Where?" Lyra pulled up the map from. Earlier on a small screen, there's a hidden vault beneath the core chamber. It holds backup data and other artifacts. If the Forgeborn want anything, it's there. Without waiting, they moved through a narrow passage that twisted downwards into the frozen heart of Titanus 4. The air grew colder. The walls became rougher. They passed ancient carvings and symbols that glowed faintly under Lyra's necklace. Light Elias could feel the weight of history pressing on him. He had entered a place where no human had ever been, where time itself seemed to sleep. After several minutes, they reached a heavy blast door covered with strange symbols. Lyra pressed her hand against it. The necklace pulsed in response. "Lock is keyed to the protocore language," she said. "I need you to say the words again." Elias took a deep breath and spoke clearly. "Ender Valora Keyleth." The door vibrated, then slid open silently. Inside was a chamber filled with strange machines and crystals. Rows of data cubes floated in soft light. The air smelled faintly of ozone and metal. Lyra moved to a console and activated it. It's a screen, lit up with streams of alien text. "Backup data," she explained. "Everything the Forgeborn did not want lost." Elias examined the data, amazed by the scale of it. Maps of stars unknown, starship designs far beyond Earth's technology. In histories of countless worlds, this knowledge could change everything, Elias said quietly. Lyra nodded, but her eyes were troubled. "Yes, but it is dangerous in the wrong hands." Suddenly, the ground shook again. More drones flooded the room from hidden tunnels, moving fast and silent as shadows. Elias grabbed a heavy metal rod from the floor. "We have to fight," Lyra activated a shield generator on her wrist. A blue force field sprang up around them, blocking the drone's advance. But there were too many. Elias swung the rod, striking a drone and sending it crashing to the floor. "We can't hold them forever," Lyra shouted. Elias looked around. "There must be another way out." Lyra pointed to a ladder leading down a narrow shaft. "There is. The vault's deepest level. It might have an escape tunnel." Without hesitation, they sprinted toward the ladder. As they climbed down into the darkness, the sounds of battle echoed behind them, the drones crashing against the shield. It's relentless and unyielding. The shaft ended in a small chamber with a hatch leading to a tunnel. Elias pushed it open and peered outside. The tunnel stretched far into the ice, its walls covered with frost. They stepped inside, and the hatch sealed behind them. For a moment, silence. Elias looked at Lyra. "Do you think they'll follow us here?" "Dee!" shook her head. "Drones can't operate in this cold for long. This tunnel was built for escape." They moved quickly through the winding passage, the air growing thinner and colder. Elias felt the chill in his bones, but he kept going. After what felt like an eternity, the tunnel opened into a large cavern. It was empty, except for strange machinery half buried in ice. Elias's eyes caught something shining on the floor. Small metal box with ancient markings. Lyra picked it up carefully. "This is a power core," she said. "It might help us." Suddenly, the ground trembled. Far above, something crashed through the surface. The Forgeborn were coming back. Elias and Lyra exchanged a look. Ah! The battle was far from over, but deep. Inside that frozen vault, surrounded by lost memories and ancient power, humanity had taken its first step. They would not give up. They would fight. Because this was their future. Elias and Lyra stood quietly inside the large, frozen cavern. Cold air filled the space, and every breath turned into mist. The glowing power core in Lyra's hands gave off a soft blue light, casting long shadows. On the icy walls, above them, the ceiling rumbled. The sound of machines echoed through the tunnel they had just left. "They're digging through," Lyra said, her voice calm but alert. "The drones won't stop until they reach this place." Elias looked around. "Is there any other exit?" Lyra nodded slowly and pointed toward a dark corridor at the edge of the cavern. "That way leads to an old launch platform." We can reach it. We can send out a signal or escape if a ship comes close enough. Elias tightened his jacket and followed her into the passage. As they walked, Elias couldn't stop thinking. Lyra, back in the vault, I saw the knowledge. They stored starship blueprints, weapons, even ways to fix planets. What if we're throwing it all away? Lyra stopped and looked at him. It's true. The Forgeborn had great power, but they used it to rule, not to help. Their knowledge is dangerous because it doesn't come with wisdom. That's what your people must understand. Elias nodded. Still, Earth could use that knowledge. We're just beginning to explore space. That information could help us grow. She smiled softly. Maybe one day, but not now. Not while others are trying to control it. As they continued down the corridor, they reached a circular room. The walls were lined with ancient control panels. At the center stood a round platform and elevator. Lyra pressed a button, and the platform began to rise slowly. They were heading up toward the surface. Halfway through, an alarm began to ring. The platform stopped. Lyra turned to Elias. Something's jamming the controls. In the shadows above, a figure dropped onto the platform. It was another sentinel. This one was taller than the last, its armor black with red lines glowing across its chest and arms. Elias stepped in front of Lyra. Let me try something. He spoke in Protocor again. Vothel Enos Kelder, stand down, machine of memory. The sentinel paused, but this time it didn't step back. It raised its arm. A long blade extended from its wrist. Lyra grabbed the ass and pulled him to the side just in time. The blade sliced through the air where Elias had stood. They've changed, Lyra said. This one doesn't listen. Elias held the metal rod tightly.
Let me fight.
The sentinel charged. Elias ducked and swung his rod, hitting its leg. Sparks flew, but the machine didn't fall. It turned and punched, sending Elias crashing into the wall. Lyra fired a small energy pulse from her wrist device, hitting the sentinel in the chest. It staggered, but then moved forward again, faster now. Elias groaned and stood up. We need to disable it. The core, Lyra shouted. Aim for the red lines. That's where the control circuits are. Elias dodged another attack, then swung hard at the sentinel's chest. The rod hit the glowing red line, and the metal cracked. The machine sparked, shuddered, and finally fell to the ground. Motionless, Elias gasped for air. That was too close. Lyra checked the controls. The platform is working again. Let's keep going. The elevator continued to rise. When they reached the top, they stepped into a wide dome covered in glass. We're now on the surface, far from the main outpost. In the distance, the large black ship still hovered silently above the ground. But something was different now. Another ship smaller and faster was approaching from the stars. Its lights blinked in a pattern Elias recognized. That's from Earth, he said. That's a human ship. Lyra looked surprised. How did they know where to find us? Elias smiled. I sent a message earlier. Short signal hidden. Inside a data scan. I hoped someone would see it. The Earth ship moved closer and hovered above the platform. A door opened from its side, and a voice came through the radio. Dr. Elias Wren, this is Commander Hale of the Starfire. We received your signal. Do you need evacuation? Elias responded quickly. Yes, but we also need to talk. There's something here. Something very old and very dangerous. The ship lowered a ramp. Elias and Lyra ran up and entered the ship. Inside, they were greeted by a small team of humans in armor. Commander Hale stepped forward. He was tall, with sharp eyes and a calm face. You've been busy, Doctor, Hale said. Elias gave a tired smile. More than you know, Lyra nodded. To Hell, we thank you for coming. But you need to understand the ship above us isn't from this galaxy. It came because Elias triggered an ancient memory. Hale looked out the window at the Forgeborn vessel. And what do they want? They want control, Elias said, of knowledge that could destroy entire worlds. But we stopped them from reaching it. Hale was silent for a moment. Then he nodded. We'll make sure no one else does either. Lyra looked at Elias. There is still one choice left. Do we destroy what remains down there, or protect it in case the galaxy ever needs it again? Elias looked out at the icy land below. The memory engine was sealed, but the vault still held knowledge. Knowledge that could either help humanity or ruin it. After a long silence, he said, "We protect it, but we don't use it. Not yet. Not until we're ready." Lyra smiled. A wise choice. Commander Hale ordered his crew to scan the area and place sensors around the site. The Forgeborn ship, seeing the human ship arrive, began to retreat once again, vanishing into the stars. For now, the threat was over. But Elias knew it wouldn't be the last. He had spoken the language of the past, and the galaxy had listened, too. Days had passed since Elias and Lyra were rescued from Titanus 4. The Starfire now floated in orbit, watching from above. Far below, the frozen vault remained quiet, locked beneath ice and metal. Drones had been deployed to guard the site. The Forgeborn ships had not returned. Inside the command room, Elias stood near a wide window, staring at the cold moon below. He still remembered the glowing necklace, the strange symbols, and the ancient voices that had echoed in his mind. Commander Hale entered the room. Holding a small data tablet, "We finished scanning the vault," he said. "Your message to Earth is being reviewed. The Council wants to speak with you personally." Elias nodded. "They'll want answers. Maybe even access to the vault." Hale crossed his arms. "Will you give them the full report?" Elias turned to him. "Only part of it. I'll tell them what we found, but not how to open it. That language is still dangerous. If the wrong person learns to speak it." Hal finished the sentence for him. ... Then the Forgeborn return. They both looked out the window in silence for a moment. "What about Lyra?" Hale asked. "She's in the observation deck," Elias replied. "She's thinking about going home." Hale gave a small smile. "She helped you save all of us. If there's anyone I trust to guard those secrets, it's her." Lyra stood alone on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Her necklace no longer glowed, but it still hung around her neck like a quiet memory. She heard soft footsteps behind her and turned to see Elias. "I thought I'd find you here," he said. "I like the quiet," Lyra replied. "It reminds me of home." He walked beside her. "You never told me where your home really is?" Lyra gave a small laugh. "It's far from here. A planet called Vela, peaceful. My people live in forests and crystal towers. We don't use machines like the Forgeborn anymore." Elias sat down on a bench nearby. "You said before that the Forgeborn created everything in the old galaxy ships, weapons, even languages. But they never created something as powerful as choice." Lyra looked at him, curious. "What do you mean?" "I mean, we chose to seal the memory engine. We chose to stop chasing power. That's something they couldn't understand." She nodded. "Yes, the Forgeborn believed that control was strength. But humans, you believe in freedom." There was a short pause between them. "Are you going back to Vela?" Elias asked. Lyra looked thoughtful. "I should. My people need to know what's happened. But a part of me wants to stay and help protect the vault." "You could use your help," Elias said. "And I'd like to keep learning the language. With someone I trust." She smiled. "Then maybe I'll stay a little longer."
What?
Later that night, Elias returned to the lab on board the Starfire. He sat alone, reviewing the symbols from the vault. Even though the memory engine was sealed, the language still echoed in his mind. He opened a file and began recording a message. "This is Dr. Elias Wren. 2 weeks ago, I discovered a forgotten language buried deep beneath the surface of Titanus 4. That language unlocked memories of a race called the Forgeborn, creatures of great power but little mercy. With the help of an Alari diplomat named Lyra, I spoke the words that woke the past. But I also spoke the words that closed it again." Paused. "We have learned much, but we must move carefully. Knowledge is not dangerous on its own, but it becomes dangerous when we forget the cost of using it. This story is not just about the past, it's about the future and who we choose to be." He saved the file. Then he stood up and looked out the small window where stars stretched in every direction. Somewhere out there, the Forgeborn might still exist, waiting, but Earth had changed. Humanity had spoken the forgotten language and made a choice not to follow the same path. Elias smiled. It wasn't power that had saved them. It was understanding. 1 week later, Earth Research Council, orbiting station Zadalius, stood before a circle of high-ranking scientists and leaders. Lyra stood at his side, wearing a dark robe marked with the Ilari crest. The council leader, a gray-haired man with sharp eyes, spoke first. Dr. Wren, your report is incomplete. The data logs show more information was recovered from the vault than you submitted. Elias stood calmly. That's true. I didn't include the activation codes. I believe we're not ready. There were murmurs around the room. One of the council members stood. That's not your decision. It's all of ours, Elias replied. But as the one who spoke the phrase and woke the engine, I had to act fast. If I had given you the full access, we might already be building the Forgeborn's machines. That's not why we explore space. Lyra stepped forward.
The vault
will remain protected. My people have agreed to help. No one will be allowed inside without speaking the words. And now, only Elias knows them. The room fell silent. The council leader finally nodded. Very well. For now we accept your decision. But the day may come when we ask you to speak again. Elias looked at them. Then I hope by that day we are wiser. Final scene. Back aboard the Starphirelias and Lyra stood together on the deck, ready to return to Titanus, for this time not to unlock the past, but to guard it. Lyra looked at him. Are you afraid? Elias smiled. No, not anymore. I thought. I was just a translator. But now I see language doesn't just carry words. It carries choices, hopes, and futures. She smiled back. You carry it well. Together, they walked toward the shuttle. Above them, stars burned quietly. The galaxy still held many secrets. But for now, the truth was safe, and humanity had spoken its first word in the great story of the stars.